Daniel Greene was born in Cincinnati, Ohio in 1934 to Earl and Gertrude Greene, who had settled there after immigrating from Poland, Russia, and Eastern Europe at the turn of the century. Daniel began showing his natural talent for art quite early in life, even though his school didn't offer art classes until the 4th grade. At 13, he attended the children's classes at the Art Academy of Cincinnati, his first formal training. By 1952, Daniel was a senior in high school. In his haste to study art, he decided to quit school and move to Miami Beach. There, he discovered portrait sketch artists catering to tourists. He joined the crowds watching the pastel artists, who were primarily Cuban. When Daniel applied for a job sketching at one of the shops, called Winkos and Serge, he was told there were no openings. He reapplied later, and this time was told the bitter truth, that he just wasn't good enough. Hearing this drove the young artist to work harder. He bought Stella Mackey's portrait book, along with an assortment of hard pastels, and ferociously practiced until he was ready to reapply. He succeeded, marking the beginning of his career as an artist. Averaging 7 portraits a day, he naturally gained skills at painting a variety of people from life. To be completely equipped, he knew he needed an intensive academic course. When he received a catalog from the Art Students League of New York, the work of Robert Brackman sealed the academic approach that Daniel desired. Daniel headed to New York, got a job at an art materials store, and enrolled in Brackman's evening class at ASL. In his first class, Brackman came in, spotted Daniel's work, and remarked to the class, "We have a lot of talent this year." Drafted into the Army in 1957, Daniel served 2 years, was honorably discharged, and moved back to Greenwich Village. He continued sketching portraits, networking, and participating in art shows, and was proposed for membership at the Salmagundi Club. After he became a member, Daniel was asked to teach, and did so at the National Academy of Design and at the Art Students League. Later, in 1979 and 1980, Daniel taught summer-long classes in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Finding he enjoyed being away from New York City, he closed his 67th Street studio. Unbeknownst to Daniel, a pastel artist named Wende Caporale had gone to ASL in search of his teaching, after her own professors recommended that she study with Daniel. Although she discovered Daniel had recently left New York, she saw one of his portraits and experienced a life-changing, prophetic moment. Once discovering Daniel was now in North Salem, New York, Wende enrolled in his classes at what has become the well-known and loved Studio Hill Farm. At the time, neither Wende nor Daniel realized their lives would intertwine to become more than teacher and artist. Spending many summers painting and working together, their personal relationship blossomed, and they married in 1986. Wende was born in 1956 in the Bronx, New York, to Italian-American parents Edward and Vera. As a child, she loved to read and was quiet compared to her siblings. She engaged herself with art and a variety of crafts. She was inspired by the black and white illustrations she found in children's books and in an old series of Encyclopedia Britannica given to her by her father. Later in high school, Wende enjoyed all the available but few art classes. Although she was very interested in art, she did not pursue an art career after graduating. Instead, she chose to attend secretarial school in the hope of finding employment. Still, Wende's passion for art reigned supreme. Once Wende and Daniel were married, they continued their lives in the world of art and also raising their daughter Avignon. Daniel painted commissioned portraits, did non-commissioned work for galleries, and taught workshops all over the U.S. and at Studio Hill Farm. Wende worked as a freelance illustrator and segued into commissioned portraits, gravitating towards children's portraits. For many years, Wende has participated in the Pastel Society of Art exhibitions at the National Arts Club in New York City. Her work was often selected to be among the highlights of the exhibitions that later traveled to Youngstown, Ohio, and other regional museums. Wende's work has won numerous awards from the Pastel Society of America, Hudson Valley Art Association, Allied Artists of America, the Salmagundi Club, and Audubon Artists. Since 1999, Wende has participated in the Portrait Society of America as a faculty member, presenter, demonstrator, juror, and award recipient. In 2006, Wende joined the board of Artists Fellowship Incorporated, a 160-year-old 501c3 charitable organization that financially assists professional artists and their families in times of need. After serving for several years as vice president, she was elected president and served in that role for 5 years. As president emeritus, she has continued on the board in the capacity of chairman of the Relief Assistance Committee. Daniel's work has garnered many awards of achievement, including 44 prizes and a place in the Hall of Fame from the Pastel Society of America, a gold medal from the Portrait Society of America, a gold medal as a Salmagundi Club honoree, a place in the Hall of Fame for the Oil Painters of America, and many more. His works are in over 700 public and private collections in the United States and abroad, including the Butler Institute of American Art, the Cincinnati Art Museum, the Pentagon and House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., the Smithsonian Institution, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, as well as many others. Daniel has painted the portraits of First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt, Commander Astronaut Walter Sherrod Jr., Ayn Rand, Natalie Portman, Bob Schiffer, Bryant Gumbel, and numerous congressmen, governors, judges, educators, and industrialists. Daniel's books and instructional videos have reached people worldwide and have been translated into multiple languages. He has taught over 10,000 students during his 6 decades of teaching, and his influence continues. We want to recognize and celebrate Daniel and Wende's long-standing commitment and contribution to the arts, and thank them for their decades of teaching and inspiring hopeful and eager art students. It is our honor to present Daniel Greene and Wende Caporale with the Fine Art Connoisseur Lifetime Achievement Award.